The just-ended African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, will go down in the books as one of the most explosive gatherings of African leaders in recent times. While the summit was supposed to focus on continental integration, economic independence, and Africa's pressing security challenges, it quickly escalated into a storm when Captain Ibrahim Traore, the revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso, confronted South Africa's economic freedom fighters leader, Julius Malema, in a fiery exchange that left Malema visibly shaken and even moved to tears. Delegates and observers had entered the AU's Grand Conference Hall with high expectations. Julius Malema, long regarded as one of the strongest voices of Pan-Africanism outside of government structures, was invited to speak during the Youth and Political Movement segment. True to form, Malema delivered a passionate speech, condemning Western imperialism, criticizing Africa's overdependence on former colonial powers, and calling for a united continental front to reclaim Africa's natural wealth. His oratory electrified the room, briefly positioning him as the uncontested voice of the radical African struggle. But just as applause filled the chamber, Captain Ibrahim Traore, the 36-year-old Kinabi leader personifying youthful defiance against neocolonialism, rose to respond. What happened next left the assembly stunned. Traore's voice came out calmly at first but carried undeniable authority. Brothers and sisters, Africa does not need more slogans. Africa does not need leaders who speak loudly abroad but fail to serve their people at home. Our revolution must be rooted in discipline, sacrifice, and humility. We cannot pretend to fight imperialism while playing politics for applause. At this moment, the room fell silent. Delegates leaned forward, sensing the shift in energy. Many felt that Traore's words had targeted Malema, and soon he became even more direct. If you claim to fight for the people, prove it by example. Do not use the struggles of the poor as ladders for personal ambition. Africa is tired of opportunism dressed in revolutionary colors. We need honesty, not theatrics. It was a direct rebuke of the EFF and its leader. Traore, fated across West Africa as a latter-day Thomas Sankara, did not pull punches. For a man renowned for his sharp riposts, Malema was remarkably restrained. Eyewitnesses said his defiance was softened, cameras captured him dabbing his face with a handkerchief, and he seemed to wipe away tears. EFF delegates sought to console him, but the damage was done. The impossible had happened. The AU hall had seen the silencing of Malema. When Traore finished, the applause was deafening. Young delegates from around the continent cheered, chanting his name and hailing him as the authentic voice of Africa's new generation. The contrast was stark. Traore exited the hall to roaring approval, while Malema remained seated, struggling to regain composure. Some leaders attempted to assuage tensions by emphasizing unity, but it now seemed apparent that a chasm had emerged. Malema's status as the unchallenged voice of Pan-African radicalism had been dented by Traore's ascendancy. Within hours, African social media went berserk. Hashtags like #Malema in tears, #Traore warning, and #AU showdown filled social media interactions. Supporters praised Traore for speaking truth to ego, claiming that Malema had, time and again, prioritized political theatrics over practical solutions. Malema's staunch supporters seemed to defend him, primarily arguing that he had been unfairly singled out, adding that his message on African liberation was very valid. Meme makers circulated clips of the somber expression of Malema versus Traore's firestorm of expressions. Political commentators alike analyzed the showdown and considered it a necessary reality check upon Malema, who had long held sway as Africa's loudest radical voice sans national power. Still others, meanwhile, cautioned it could only further polarize Africa's already fractured liberation movements. Ultimately, the summit of the AU marked a generational passing of the torch. Malema may be loud in words, but it is Traore leading through action, a contrast visible to the whole continent now.